Chapter 6 Democracy. Good morning, everyone. In our last class, we discussed Chapter 5, State and Society up to 1000 CE. Today, we will study Chapter 6, Democracy. Before we move ahead, let's recall what democracy means. Do any of you remember what it is?
Ma'am, I think democracy is when people have the power to choose their leaders.
Yes, and the government works according to the people's choice.
Very good. In simple words, democracy is a system where the power of governing comes from the citizens of the country.
So people are the real decision makers.
Exactly. Citizens choose their representatives through free and fair elections.
That means everyone can vote without any pressure or unfair practices, right?
Correct, Dhruv? Democracy is based on important values like freedom, equality, justice, rights, and responsibilities.
Ma'am, what do these values mean for us in daily life?
They ensure that every citizen has the right to vote, express opinions, and participate in decisions that affect society. Now let's understand something important. India is the world's largest democracy.
Really, ma'am? How large is it?
India has a population of over 140 crore and a voter base of more than 96.8 crore as of 2024.
So India has the highest number of people taking part in elections.
Yes, Lata. That is why India is called the world's largest participatory democracy and is an inspiration for many countries, though it also faces certain challenges.
Ma'am, what makes our democracy work properly?
A very important role is played by the Constitution. It is the set of rules that guides our democracy.
When was it made, ma'am?
The Constitution of India was adopted on 26th November 1949 and came into effect on 26th January 1950.
What does it actually do for citizens?
It protects the fundamental rights of all citizens and ensures equality. It also prevents discrimination based on religion, caste, gender, race, or place of birth.
So it keeps everyone equal and safe.
Exactly. It also encourages citizens to take part in elections and democratic activities at all levels, national, state, and local.
Ma'am, has democracy in India always been like this?
Not exactly, Dhruv. Democracy in India didn't emerge all at once. It evolved slowly over a long span of history, which we'll learn about later in this chapter.
Ma'am, what do we mean by tracing democratic traditions from early times? Were there any democratic ideas in ancient India?
Yes, Lata. In the Vedic period, people participated in decision-making through assemblies like Sabha, Samiti, and Vidhata.
So people used to take part in discussions and decisions.
Exactly. Even early republican states called Ganas or Samghas followed collective decision-making through assemblies and ministers instead of rule by a single ruler.
Ma'am, the Rig Veda also talks about this, right?
Yes, a verse from the 𝐒𝐭𝐤𝐢𝐜 Suktam in the Rig Veda highlights collective thinking, discussion, and unity, showing that ideas of consultation and shared responsibility are deeply rooted in Indian tradition.
Ma'am, did these democratic ideas continue later in history too?
Yes, the Bauddha Samghas, founded by Gautama Buddha, showed democratic practices where members discussed, debated, and made collective decisions, even choosing their leaders through voting.
Ma'am, what happened to these ideas over time?
Over time, foreign invasions and by the 19th century British rule reduced people's participation in governance.
So people were not allowed to take part freely?
Yes, but the freedom struggle brought back these democratic ideas and made people demand self-rule again.
Ma'am, how did modern democracy in India begin?
Before independence, the Constituent Assembly was set up in 1946 to draft the Constitution. And it took 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to finish.
Was it influenced only by Indian ideas?
Not only Indian traditions, but also global democratic principles influenced the Constituent Assembly debates.
Ma'am, what was the aim of the Constitution?
The members wanted a constitution that was not rigid, but flexible and evolving, while still protecting core values like equality, liberty, justice, and fraternity.
So it can change with time?
Yes, that is why it allows amendments under Article 368, helping it adapt to changing needs while keeping its core values intact.
Ma'am, what are the main principles of democracy?
A strong democracy is based on some key principles followed in India through the Constitution, such as popular sovereignty, rule of law, fundamental rights, separation of powers, accountability and transparency, the multi-party system, and safeguarding the rights of vulnerable groups.
Ma'am, what does popular sovereignty mean?
It means the real power lies with the people. They elect their government through free and fair elections.
So every adult can vote?
Yes, every citizen aged 18 and above has the right to vote, called Universal Adult Franchise, through secret ballot.
Ma'am, what is the rule of law?
It means that every person is equal in the eyes of law, gets equal legal protection, and no one is above the law.
So even the most powerful people must obey the law?
Absolutely. If laws are broken, cases are handled by courts through proper legal procedures, not through force or personal influence.
Does this stop misuse of power?
Yes, it ensures fairness in the system and protects citizens from any misuse of authority.
Can someone be punished without being heard?
No, that is not allowed. Every person has the right to a fair hearing before any judgment is made.
So this makes justice more reliable.
Exactly. It promotes fairness, ensures responsibility, and builds public trust in democracy.
Ma'am, what are fundamental rights?
They are basic rights given by the Constitution to protect the freedom, equality, and dignity of every citizen.
Ma'am, how many fundamental rights are there?
There are 6. Right to equality, Articles 14 to 18. Right to freedom, Articles 19 to 22. Right against exploitation, Articles 23 to 24. Right to freedom of religion, Articles 25 to 28. Cultural and educational rights, Articles 29 to 30. And right to constitutional remedies, Article 32.
What does the right to constitutional remedies mean?
It allows citizens to approach courts under Articles 32 and 226 if their fundamental rights are violated.
So these rights are legally protected?
Yes, they are enforceable in courts and ensure justice and protection for all citizens.
Ma'am, how does the government function properly?
Through separation of powers, legislature makes laws, executive implements them, and judiciary interprets them.
Why is this needed?
It prevents concentration of power and maintains checks and balance.
Do they control each other?
Yes, Parliament can make or amend laws, but the judiciary can review them if they don't match the Constitution.
What is the role of the judiciary?
It protects the Constitution, ensures justice, and safeguards citizens' rights.
Does it help ordinary people too?
Yes, through public interest litigation, PIL, it helps people access justice easily.
Ma'am, What do accountability and transparency mean?
It means the government is responsible to the people and must openly share information about its work.
How can citizens check what the government is doing?
Through public discussions, elections, and participation in civic life, people can evaluate government actions.
So citizens can question the government.
Yes, this participation makes democracy stronger and increases trust between citizens and the government.
Is there any law for getting information?
Yes, under the Right to Information (RTI) Act 2005, citizens can ask government offices for details about their work and decisions.
Ma'am, why are there so many political parties?
Because India follows a multi-party system where different parties represent different ideas and interests.
So people can choose freely.
Yes, voters select the party they feel is best suited to govern them.
How is the government formed?
The party or coalition that wins more than half the seats in parliament or state assemblies forms the government, while others act as the opposition.
Do parties follow any rules?
Yes, all political parties work under the rules of the Representation of the People Act 1951, which ensures fair elections.
Ma'am, what does safeguarding the rights of vulnerable groups mean?
It means the government must protect all communities, especially those who are weaker or disadvantaged in society.
Ma'am, why is this protection needed?
Because in the past, many groups did not get equal opportunities. So the government ensures fair and equal distribution of resources today.
So no one is left out.
Exactly. Everyone should get equal chances without discrimination.
Is this mentioned in the Constitution?
Yes. Article 46 directs the state to promote the educational and economic interests of weaker sections, especially scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, and protect them from injustice and exploitation.
Ma'am, what makes democracy actually work in real life?
It works through different processes supported by institutions. The legislature ensures representation and debate. The Election Commission ensures free and fair participation. And the judiciary ensures justice and rule of law.
How is information and fairness maintained?
Media and civil society encourage free expression and discussion, while bodies like CAG, CIC, Lokpal, and CVC ensure transparency and accountability.
And how do common people take part?
Local bodies bring decision-making to the grassroots level, and the Constitution ensures checks and balance through division of powers between the centre and states.
Ma'am, what is the role of media in democracy?
Through newspapers, news channels, and social media platforms, media keeps people informed about world events, highlights public issues, and helps in their resolution. Because of this, it is called the fourth pillar of democracy.
Ma'am, what are the types of democracy?
Democracy is mainly divided into direct democracy and representative democracy, indirect democracy.
What is direct democracy?
It is a system where citizens directly take part in decision-making. It works in smaller countries like Switzerland.
Then what is representative democracy?
In this system, people elect representatives who govern on their behalf. It is followed in countries like India.
Are there further types under it?
Yes, representative democracy is further divided into parliamentary democracy and presidential democracy.
What is parliamentary democracy?
In parliamentary democracy, the executive is part of the legislature and is accountable to it. For example, India and Canada.
And presidential democracy?
In presidential democracy, the executive is separate from the legislature and is directly elected by the people. For example, the United States of America.
Ma'am, do all democracies work the same way?
No. All democracies follow common values like equality, freedom, rights, duties, rule of law, and participation. But there is no single model. Each country shapes democracy based on its society and power structure, where some allow direct citizen participation while others use elected representatives.
Ma'am, how does democracy work in India?
India follows a representative parliamentary democracy, where the Prime Minister leads the government, the President is head of state, and it has a multi-party system, written constitution, fundamental rights, duties, and federalism.
How does it work in Canada?
Canada also follows a parliamentary democracy, where the Prime Minister holds executive power, the Governor-General represents the Crown, and it has federalism and a multi-party system.
And in the United Kingdom?
The UK has a parliamentary democracy with constitutional monarchy, where the monarch is head of state, the PM runs the government, and it has an unwritten constitution and parliamentary sovereignty.
How does Switzerland work?
Switzerland follows a direct democracy, where citizens directly participate. It has a written constitution, multiple parties, and the Federal Council handles executive work.
And the USA?
The USA follows a presidential democracy, where the president is both head of state and government, with a written constitution and a two-party system.
Ma'am, under democracy in practice, India's living democracy, why is India called the world's largest democracy?
Because it has over 96.8 crore voters, 2024, making elections the biggest democratic exercise in the world.
Ma'am, under huge representation and many languages, how does voting work?
One MP represents about 25 lakh people, and elections are held in 22 languages with symbols for easy voting.
Ma'am, under polling stations and political parties, how is voting managed?
Over 1 million polling stations exist, even in remote areas, and India has over 2,800 political parties reflecting its diversity.
Ma'am, what makes India's democracy a living democracy?
It is living because citizens from diverse backgrounds actively participate in elections and public life, making it inclusive and active.
Ma'am, how is participation shown beyond voting?
Through participatory democracy like local councils, public consultations, and community initiatives.
Ma'am, how is governance structured in India?
Through a three-tier system: union, state, and local governments, for better administration and participation.
Ma'am, are there special systems for tribal areas?
Yes, autonomous district councils in the Northeast and the PESA Act 1996, which is the Panchayat's Extension to Scheduled Areas Act, empower Gram Sabhas in tribal regions.
Ma'am, is democracy only about government institutions?
No, it also extends to civil society, cooperatives, and trade unions, where democratic decision-making is followed in daily social life.
Ma'am, in Women and the Right to Vote, the Indian experience, did women always have voting rights?
No. In many countries like Britain 1928 and the USA 1920, women got voting rights only after long struggles.
What about India, ma'am?
In India, women got voting rights in 1950 itself, when the Constitution introduced universal adult franchise without discrimination.
So was everything equal after that?
Legally, yes. But in reality, social prejudices still affect women's participation in politics.
Ma'am, What is women's reservation in local bodies?
It means giving women reserved seats to ensure their participation in decision-making.
How much reservation is given?
Article 243D provides at least one-third reservation in panchayats, and many states and UTs have increased it to 50%.
What about cities?
Article 243T provides at least one-third reservation in municipalities. And as of 2023, 17 states and 1 union territory have increased it to 50% in urban local bodies.
Ma'am, you told us about RTI earlier. What is it?
The Right to Information (RTI) Act 2005 was formed through democratic processes of legislation and representation. It allows citizens to seek information from government departments, strengthening transparency and accountability.
How was this law made?
It was developed through discussions involving citizens, journalists, civil society, and elected representatives. The matter was examined in Parliament and expert groups.
So many people were involved in making it?
Yes. After consultations and debates, Parliament passed the law in 2005 with safeguards for national security and administration.
What is its importance?
It empowers citizens to access government information and makes governance more accountable.
Ma'am, what are the challenges to democratic practices in India?
Democracy needs participation, awareness, and responsible behavior. Though rights are given, citizens must also use them responsibly. Actions like damaging public property, spreading misinformation, or ignoring public issues weaken democracy.
What other challenges does India face?
India still faces issues like inequality, illiteracy, regionalism, poverty, and gender discrimination. Fake news on social media also spreads confusion and can create conflict. Poor implementation of laws can reduce trust in institutions.
Ma'am, has democracy faced any major crisis in India?
Yes. During the emergency 1975 to 77, rising unemployment, inflation, and protests led to its declaration due to internal disturbance.
What happened during the emergency?
Fundamental rights were suspended, the press was censored, and many leaders and activists were arrested. Democratic institutions were weakened, and citizens' freedoms were restricted.
How did it end?
It was lifted in 1977. Elections were held, and the ruling government was defeated, showing the strength of Indian democracy and the importance of rights, participation, and constitutional safeguards.
Ma'am, under democracy and you, why is it important for young citizens to stay informed?
Good question, Lata. Staying informed through newspapers, news programs, and responsible internet use helps us understand public issues and make informed decisions.
Ma'am, how does this help us in real life?
It helps us understand democracy better and participate more meaningfully in society.
Ma'am, are there any programs that help students learn these values?
Yes. NSS and NCC build civic responsibility, discipline, teamwork, social awareness, and respect for democratic values through service activities.
Ma'am, is democracy only a system of government?
No, it is a continuous process shaped by institutions and active citizens.
Ma'am, what makes democracy strong?
India's democracy is strong because of its scale, diversity, elections, constitutional values, and citizen participation, even though challenges still exist.
Ma'am, what keeps democracy alive?
Democracy thrives when every citizen knows their rights, fulfills their duties, and actively contributes to society. So students, today we learned what democracy is, its key principles, and how democratic traditions have evolved in India. We also explored the different types of democracy, the role of the constitution, media, and citizens, India's democratic practices, women's voting rights and reservation, the Right to Information (RTI) Act, and the challenges faced by our democracy. In the next class, we will begin Chapter 7, Elections. Until then, thank you and keep learning.
अपना इंडिया गोल्डन बुक्स का दीवाना पढ़ाई हो जो करनी जरा भी ना घबराना गोल्डन बुक्स को अपनाना अपना इंडिया गोल्डन बुक्स का दीवाना कक्षा विषय कोई हो आसान समझ पाना गोल्डन ही तो है सफलता का पैमाना गोल्डन ही ला रहा है चेहरे पे मुस्कुराना मैं गोल्डन का दीवाना अपना इंडिया बुक्स का दीवाना